Prime Minister Albanese and Labor are set to retain government, with Albanese giving his victory speech to Labor HQ a short time ago, with Liberal leader Peter Dutton conceding defeat and losing his seat, making him the first leader to have done so since John Howard. I'm currently at Kate Chaney's base in Curtin, a former safe Liberal seat. Kate Chaney has won, speaking with her supporters and celebrating earlier this evening. Joining me now is former Liberal MLC Anthony Fels to share his views on tonight's results and what's next for both major parties. Stay tuned for our social media and website. So, Anthony, can you tell us a little bit about what you've seen tonight and what your views are for the future of the Labor and Liberal parties?
Well, politics is things happen very quickly, so this is a shock to the Liberal Party. It's not a shock to everyone. I think the polls were indicating this for a long time, but the Liberals kept saying that the polls might be wrong, and they often are. But everywhere we went for the last 3 or 4 weeks, it was pointing in this direction. It's what we were seeing today out at the polling booths, and Liberal Party have lost their leader, so it's not like there's going to be a spill or move against the leader. There's going to be a vacancy, and there's a bit of a vacuum in the Liberal Party now about who might fill that. It hasn't even been contemplated who that might be. So the Liberal Party got a lot of soul searching to do in a very short period of time.
What do you think that this election means for the future of the Liberal Party, if they even have one?
Well, that's it. That's the problem for them now, is they've been going backwards steadily for a long time. Both major parties have got a very low primary vote. Liberals, only just over 30%. Labor about 35, 36%. So combined, that's less than 2/3 of the national vote. So there's a 1/3 of the vote voting for parties, and then you've also got to look at it. There's 2/3 of the national population don't want either party, or don't want the party in government. So it makes quite a volatile situation. I think the Liberals made a bit of a mistake making voters worry there might be a hung parliament and relying on the Greens. That might have actually pushed more people back towards Labor because they weren't necessarily ready to vote for Liberal.
And what are your thoughts around independents like Kate Chaney in the election this year?
Well, I think we're going to see more of that. I think it's really how the parliament started hundreds of years ago, and especially in Australia, the Liberal Party 70 years ago, when community people were being elected in to represent their seats. And it wasn't centrally controlled. Now you've got both parties controlled out of Canberra and the eastern states, and by a few power brokers at the top. And as soon as they make the wrong decision or choose the wrong person, they get a very big backlash from the community very quickly. And I think Kate Chaney here has shown that she's different, doing it differently. The other Teals or independent candidates all around the country are doing it differently. They've got broad support in their community. And I think longer term as well, there's going to be a new generation of voters recognise that and look for that in the future too. So I think the future for major parties is going to be very difficult to be able to maintain the control that they've had in the past.
Do you think that this year's election result, which is so blatantly swung against the Liberals, shows that young people are more voting for more progressive parties, or maybe for more independents and Labor, and that the centre line is shifting, perhaps?
Definitely that's the case for the Liberal Party, because it's pretty well recognised that their voter base is getting older, and they're not replacing it with the younger voters. The younger voters are going not even necessarily for the Labor Party. They're going for the Greens or the other minor parties or independents. But it's very hard for the Liberal Party to get that flow through in preferences, and definitely not in the primary vote.
So what do you think that this year's election result means for the future of Australia and democracy? Is it good? Is it bad? What are your thoughts?
Well, I love democracy, so I respect the result. I don't think it would have been a bad thing if we had a minority government. I think the Parliament would have worked effectively. That's how the Parliament is designed to operate anyway. Parliament was set up before they even had political parties. So it's the governor the head of state, that is the head of state and appoints the ministers and the Prime Minister. So I think we'll be in for a bit of a wild time, because Labor, I think, will very quickly come out with some policies and issues that they say they've talked about and supported, but they weren't the core policies that led into this election, and they shouldn't be claiming a mandate for a whole lot of things that they might in the future, because a 3-year term goes pretty quickly, and they could very quickly lose the margin that they picked up at this election.
Any other thoughts? Anything you don't think we've covered that you'd like to get out to viewers?
Well, I think we haven't seen all of the Western Australia results yet. It doesn't look as bad here from what I've seen yet as it is in the eastern states for the Liberals, but it's definitely not good. I think the Liberals should have gone in this election not trying to be the alternative government or to expect to win or come out with policies to win. I think they should have just aimed to try and maintain their base. They could have still won without trying to push themselves as the alternative government. And I think they might have scared a lot of voters that they could have been the alternative government, and they've actually suffered out of that. And I think the other issue that might have hurt them as well is for the first time they did a 1-2 preference deal with One Nation, Pauline Hanson's party, thinking that would benefit them in some of these seats and get them over the line. And in some cases that actually costs them. That can drive their moderate base away from them, and then they don't always get those preferences coming back either. So that's a big issue for the Liberal Party going forward, how they're going to deal with that.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thanks, Nellie.